How You Became a Hero. Chapter 8. Worried. After the battle, Izuku was immediately brought to the nurse's office. I wanted to stay with him, but All Might told me to stay back and keep battling as I would only be in the way, and in the waiting room doing nothing but wait anyway. Flashback. Yen! I'm gonna need to stay here with the rest of the class. All Might told me as I watched the mini robots take Izuku away to the infirmary. Why? It's not really a surprise that I'm here anymore. Everyone knows. I sniffed, looking down as I wiped away the remaining tears from my face. Yes, everyone does know now, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna stop. I'm gonna add another choice for you. You can be the hero side, or on the villain side. Or no one's side. He told me. What if I do? What if I'm no one's side? I asked him, as he handed me original UA gym clothes to change into since my costume got kinda ruined. You can watch, see how they battle, memorize their quirks, and how they work. That way, when you go see young Midoriya, you can tell him everything and at the same time serve you as a lesson for your powers. But if you choose to watch, then you can't get involved in the battle. Just keep that in mind. Now come! There's a bathroom in the monitor room you can use to change. All Might patting my shoulder while offering me one of his famous smiles. Young Midoriya will be okay, I promise. You can see him after the battle is over. He said, making me smile and nod, and with that, we walked off together, with Bakugo, who was silent during our conversation. Flashback over. All Might gave us, all of us, a new map to a new building. This building was called Battle Building B. The teams that are now going in are in Team B, which is Todoroki and Shoji, who are the heroes, and Team I, who is Ojiro and Hagakure, who are the villains. I decided to watch for this round and stayed in the monitor room. I watched as Shoji turned one of his 6 arms into an ear. He then turned a different arm into a mouth and began to speak to Todoroki, but I couldn't hear anything. Todoroki then spoke and walked towards the wall. I catched Shoji go back outside and I was confused why, until I saw Todoroki freeze the whole building. We were in the basement, so now it was freezing cold here, but not frozen. Putting my now cold hands into my pockets, I looked at another monitor, observing the villains to see that their feet are completely frozen in their spots. I then saw Todoroki go inside their room where the villains were and walked past both of them to then touch the weapon, meaning he and Shoji had won. He then melted the ice around the whole building using heat, which is apparently he has a second quirk. I get the feeling there's more to that quirk than just using it to melt ice, but I won't ask him. Taking my hands out of my pockets, I let out a relieved sigh as the monitor room warmed down. Okay, So Shoji's quirk is dupli arm, and Todoroki's quirk is half cold, half hot. Hagakure is permanently invisible, and Ojiro has a tail. The next team is Team J. Sero and Kirishima, who are the villains, and the heroes are Team H, Tokuyami, and Azui. I decided to watch again. I'm not lazy, I really do want a battle and all, but I'm worried about Izuku. I want to go see him instead of being here. I want to know how he's doing, and if he's okay. But I'm doing this for him nonetheless. The battles went on, and in all of them I just watched. At one point, All Might told me that I should pick a team and go out there. But I told him I didn't feel well enough to battle. With a sad smile, he let it slide, and let me watch the battle in peace. I forgot to mention that when I put on my UA gym clothes, I also slipped on the anti-quirk bracelet All Might gave me, so that I can rest from my powers for a little. Even when I'm not using my powers, I can still feel it, and for some reason I get extremely tired and weak, as if my powers were feeding off my energy without me using them, or even when I'm not doing anything. It's weird, but I hope I can get used to all this power at some point. Anyway, All Might, let us all go after the battle were over. And now, I'm in the girls' locker room, putting my normal uniform on. The girls quiet, as if they felt my sadness and worry. Once I finished putting on my school shoes and getting ready, I ran out as quick as I could to the nurse's office. Quietly barging in, I saw All Might already here, sitting there in his weak form with the recovery girl and Izuku, who laid in bed, with the bandages wrapped around both his arms. "How's Izuku doing?" I asked, not caring which one of them answers the question.
"He's doing fine. He just needs a lot of rest,"
Recovery girl answered, letting a frustrated sigh.
"Anyway, after the IVs finish, we are going to have to wait until he heals properly on his own. My core can't just heal all of his injuries at once, you know. Come on, All Might. I know you passed on your powers to this boy, but you can't spoil him,"
she said, annoyed. "I'm trying not to play favorites. I wanted to consider his feelings, though. He needed to see that he was capable of winning the exercise. Oh yeah, also, will you please not talk so loudly about One for All, when anyone around you could hear?" All Might told her.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Natural-born hero, Mr. Symbol of Peace,"
Recovery girl said, sarcastically as she went to type something in her computer. They asked me to exit for a moment so that they can discuss about something after that. Moments later, All Might came out and said I could go back in. Izuku looked so weak, I didn't like seeing him in a hospital bed. What will happen to him if his powers keep breaking his body like this? Recovery girl can't help him forever. Time skip. I was in class, just sitting on my desk, my head resting on my hands as I stared outside the slightly open window, the breeze hitting me once in a while making me relax, while everyone else talked to each other about random stuff. We only had 30 minutes till dismissal since we finished All Might's exercise early. Closing my eyes, I breathed in, slowly trying to calm myself down a bit more. as I heard the door open, curious as to what or who it was. I would lazily turn my head towards the door. When I saw who it was, I was instantly standing up, regretting it after everything in the room began to spin a little. Grabbing my head, I closed my eyes for a second and opened them again to see everyone gathered around the very person who stayed on my mind all day. Izuku. Everyone complimented him on how awesome he was and how cool he looked during the battle. They all told their names to him too. As Ida began to argue with Tokoyami, I just stared at Izuku, who was awkwardly laughing, until we finally made eye contact. When he softly smiled at me, I began to blush. As I looked down, I was getting dizzy again. Crap, what do I say? Does he even remember the kiss? Hey, Yin! Izuku greeted me, a soft tone as he stood in front of me really close to me. Hey, how are you feeling? I asked as I fiddled my fingers, still not looking at him. I'm okay. Are you okay? He asked me, putting a gentle hand on my chin and raising my head up so I could look at him. If it wasn't for the nice breeze coming in through the window, I probably would have fainted from how hot it is in here. I'm fine. I just, maybe he did forget. Is this about a kiss? He asked, smirking at me. He didn't forget. Oh my god, what do I say? I can't speak as my face turned tomato red. You're so cute, he chuckled as he patted my head. We'll talk more about this later, but have you seen Kachan? I need to speak to him. He asked me, looking at Bakugo's empty desk. We tried to stop him from leaving, but he wouldn't listen. You just missed him, but you might catch him up if you run, Uraka said, pointing out the window. He ran out, and I looked out the window just in time to see Bakugo coming out of the school. And seconds later, I saw Izuku. They were just talking until Bakugo started to yell. I think I decided to go outside, scared Bakugo will do something again. But as I walked out there, All Might stood there talking to Bakugo a few feet away from where Izuku was standing. I walked next to Izuku and asked him what happened, and he told me he would explain later, as he let out a sigh. Midoriya, what were you saying to Bakugo? Nothing special, Izuku said, freaking out as he tried to pull his best normal look. Such a terrible liar. I'm so curious. Why don't you tell me all the juicy details? All Might insisted humorously, by now, and already a giggling mess. Actually, I kinda forgot, Izuku said, smiling nervously. I couldn't hold it any longer.